Hi there. Welcome to another LinkedIn Live with Simplicity Consulting. I'm Carrie Morris, Vice President of Client Services, and I'll be your host today. Before we dive into the discussion, a little bit about our company. We are a marketing, communications, and business operations consultancy, and we are located in Kirkland, Washington, when we're not in a pandemic. We exist to help business leaders at companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Tableau, T-Mobile accelerate their sales and increase capacity with on-demand experts working on project-based assignments. So we really are the experts when it comes to helping hiring managers figure out and know how to hire on-demand talent, especially during a pandemic. With 40% of companies implementing hiring freezes right now due to COVID, hiring managers need to think about the work and the talent differently. In this 30-minute LinkedIn Live, you'll meet the Simplicity talent managers who are responsible for delivering on-demand talent to clients seeking experts in digital marketing, modern storytelling, PowerPoint design, content marketing, writing, editing, project and program management, all to meet the needs of a very fast-paced business. Each talent manager will give you their pro tips on ways to attract and hire on-demand talent for your project-based needs. So as you tune into this discussion, I want to encourage everybody, especially you hiring managers, drop your questions and your comments in the comment section, and we'll be sure to collect and address as many of them as we can at the end of today's discussion. Before I introduce our speakers, I want to be sure and highlight something that's really important to our company right now, which is our diversity pledge. We recently launched our diversity pledge to intentionally bridge the network gap. We invite everyone to take part in the pledge by clicking on the link that we're going to drop into the comments. Please take action and refer a person of color or an individual from any marginalized community. We will reach out to your referrals with our offering of free coaching, whether it be around personal brand, which you're going to learn a little bit more in today's conversation, as well as helping them activate their network. And definitely, we're going to connect them with any of the open opportunities in our pipeline that match to their skills and their capabilities. We hope everyone will take part in the diversity pledge today. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. I'd like to introduce our first talent manager, Amanda Swan. Amanda, welcome.
Hi, thanks for the introduction, Carrie. Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, this is a fun platform.
It is, isn't it? I mean, this is going to be our new studio. So get very familiar with it. Get very comfortable with it.
I love it. Hi, everyone.
Tell everybody a little bit about your role as talent manager and what you love most about it.
Sure. Yeah. For me, it's really all about the relationships. I love connecting with people in a meaningful way and building that trust with clients and consultants. So it's so inspiring when I get to talk with consultants all day and they know their craft so well. And then on the other side, I get to partner with clients who really truly need the help. So it's especially rewarding when I get to make that perfect match. And then the consultant is off doing the work they love. And as a result, the client is getting that heroic success.
I love that. That is our company mission. So clients, we want you to achieve heroic success. And in this moment, especially hiring managers, we want you to experience similar success. So Amanda, why today? Why is this topic so very important and relevant to hiring managers?
Yeah, well, just like you mentioned, Carrie, in the introduction, there are hiring freezes or pauses at nearly every major tech company right now. So right now is the perfect time for hiring managers to consider on-demand talent. Because guess what? A hiring freeze doesn't mean a vendor freeze. These clients still have the work that needs to get done. So hiring managers, if you're unable to hire FTEs due to COVID, we have an alternative approach, and that is on-demand talent. So what's really interesting is that there has been some research recently published by Upwork, actually, that shows 75% of hiring managers are turning to independent professionals right now. 49% of managers are seeking that on-demand talent because of their skills and capabilities.
So what you're saying, Amanda, is that the on-demand talent pool that we work with every single day is brimming, and we know this, with really skilled experts. And hiring managers, you guys should absolutely be taking advantage of these on-demand professionals during this hiring freeze.
Yeah, they absolutely should.
Great. And you know what? Thank you, Amanda, for bringing that perspective and that context. I think that's really important as we further into this conversation. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. let's talk about your pro tips for any hiring manager that might be tuning in from Microsoft, T-Mobile, Tableau. How do they identify the right on-demand experts for their business?
Yeah, it's a good question. So my first tip, and this is before you even start your search, and it's a little bit of homework here. So you really want to get clear on what success looks like. And then from there, you can see what your needs truly are. You'll be able to address what are the deliverables, what are the milestones, and then really identify your team culture, which is a really important factor in finding the right talent. So that's my first tip. My second tip, once you've done your homework, you can then start to think about the talent. You may wonder what the best way to do that is. And the tip here is to really look at it and approach it through the lens of work that the talent has already done. So looking at success metrics they've achieved from past projects, or essentially, as we would call it, their heroic wins, right, Carrie?
Yep, that's it.
My final tip would be to ask really intentional questions about how the consultant has done the work before. So what is their process? How do they approach this? Or how are they going to approach this? What are their work streams? And that will really help to take the focus off the totality of their resume and allow both the hiring manager and the consultant to hone in on the deliverables and align on their path to success.
These are great pro tips, Amanda, and you're really, putting a fine point on the essence of what to really look for in a on-demand expert, a consultant, a vendor, contractor, whatever the language is that this hiring manager needs to hear from us. And it sounds like what you're saying too is greater emphasis on metrics, on samples of work, like really demonstrate that you've done this work before for a hiring manager. So then my next question is, how important is the resume in this moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. Resumes are important. They're especially important if you're someone out there searching on your own. However, for a matchmaker like myself, and I know I can speak for the other talent managers when I say this, we spend a lot more time qualifying talent based on their capabilities, their skill set, and those samples of work. So hiring managers, I know you're tuned in and listening, right? You know that homework that I was talking about earlier? Well, this is really, honestly, when it comes into play. We are vetting talent based on those deliverables, those milestones, and your team culture. We essentially are taking the guesswork out of it for you. So now, on the other hand, if you are out there on your own in search of on-demand talent, sifting through resumes will help, and that will definitely help you to get your initial short list. But don't rely solely on the resume. Spend more time really looking at the consultant's portfolio, focusing less on the resume and more on the individual's body of work as it pertains more specifically to the business problem you want to solve for.
That's great. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I'm sure that hiring managers, as well as consultants that are tuning in, are taking copious notes. I really want to have you come back, Amanda, at the end, because I'm sure we're going to have some questions. So thank you so much for sharing your pro tips. I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to it. And I'm going to welcome our next talent manager to the show. So let's welcome Miss Erika Elliott to the screen.
Thanks, Carrie. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here today.
Oh, Erika, so good to see you. I love that you have this fabulous home backdrop behind you. Welcome. Welcome to the studio. We're so excited to have your pro tips shared today. Listen, as a former recruiter for many years and really recruiting for full-time employees, right? And now you're kind of in this new realm and you've been here for quite some time with our company as a matchmaker for on-demand talent. What are some of your biggest ahas when you compare the two?
Yeah. I've been a recruiter and a sourcer in many industries. I've done that in marketing and I've done it in IT and healthcare. And I think it's like over 15 years now, which, wow, I think it's longer, but we'll go with that. And I have staffed on both sides. So I've done a lot of FTE as well as the consulting side. And I think with that, my aha moment is really understanding the difference between the cost and time it takes to hire on both of those. When you hire with an FTE, the cost is so much more because you're picking up those fully burdened costs. So taxes, benefits, office space, training even. Whereas if you work with a company like Simplicity, you're delivering expert doers that are already trained and can be available within just days. We can supply consultants to our clients, and it's easier for us just to get them on site, a lot quicker. And we also pick up the extra burden costs for the client as well.
So that's really interesting, and especially in a pandemic, when you talk about things like cost and time in terms of hiring the talent, that's crucial. I mean, that's crucial to the success of any business objective, but particularly when it comes to needing to execute on a marketing campaign or, launching into a massive communication effort. The rapid rate of digital transformation alone suggests that we might even be a little bit behind when it comes to how we bring our products and services to market. So again, having those experts on demand, I think, is just crucial. How can hiring managers, Erika, be fast and right, as we like to say, when it comes to, on-demand talent?
Yeah. Well, one way is just to work with a company like Simplicity. We've been working with our consultants for over 14 years. We also have a huge database of subject matter experts in specific fields as marketing, communications, business operations. So it's a great thing that we've done all that screening for the clients, and our consultants are ready to hit the ground running and then really focus on that actual deliverable based work.
Yeah, and that's what we do all day long. But let's also remember, we are here to add some value to those hiring managers that really need to do it on their own or want to do it on their own. So this is my favorite part, pro tip time. What's your pro tip for hiring managers in search of on-demand talent on their own?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, our founder and CEO, Lisa Hufford, she is super passionate about helping consultants create their personal brand statement. And as us talent managers, we help each consultant define what their personal brand statement looks like. I would definitely encourage hiring managers really to focus in getting to know the personal brand statement of their consultants so that they're considering to hire.
So I'm sure many people listening right now are familiar with what we mean when we say personal brand, but just for those that maybe need a little bit more refresher, how should a hiring manager think about personal brand with on-demand talent?
Definitely. Personal brand is really combining a person's passion and strengths to define the work that they love to do. When you get someone who knows their personal brand statement, you get confidence in someone and you get someone that's excited about the work that they love to do. At Simplicity here, every Wednesday, us talent managers, we hold a connect session. And in that session prior, we send out a little homework assignment with Lisa's personal brand statement. And we give those consultants time to kind of reflect and try to define their personal brand statement. They then bring that to our session. And in that session, we go around, we kind of just do like a round table, and they get to tell us their brand statement. We love this exercise. We find that it helps us as talent managers really dive into, what these consultants are passionate about it. And then it also makes it easier for us to go out to the client and say, here, so-and-so, and to make that right placement. Staffing people that are passionate about the work that they love to do. Actually, we would love to share Lisa's personal brand statement with everyone today. I think it's great. And that's just a token from us. And I think that we're going to drop that into the comment section below. So please, everyone, take a look at that.
I love that. And while that's happening, Erika, another question that kind of came to my mind as you were speaking just now, why is knowing your personal brand as a consultant so important? And then why should hiring managers care?
Yeah, I think for consultants, knowing your personal brand statement really empowers you to connect, with the work that you truly love and also what you want to be known for out there. And then for hiring managers, when you hire someone that is passionate about the work that they love to do, then they will show up excited, and then they're going to execute and bring you those results.
That's awesome. That's really a great point. When we were first thinking about this session, I know personal brand was going to come up, but I love the way you framed it for hiring managers. And I think there's so much more that we can offer, as it pertains to personal brand and identifying that in the talent that you're looking at bringing into your organization. So thank you so much, Erika. I love this topic. We'll go ahead and we'll let you get back to it. And then we're going to bring you back at the end of the session in just a few minutes to take on any additional questions that might pop up.
All right, great. Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, so we are down to our last talent manager, but last and certainly not least, this is Markel Lindstedt. Markel, welcome.
Hi, Carrie.
How are you?
How are you?
Good. Markel has a new puppy, everybody. So if there's any interruptions, it's COVID related, puppy related.
Yes, he's under the desk sleeping, so don't wake him up.
So Markel, tell everybody a little bit about your background because it is very unique in this conversation.
Yeah, I come from university recruiting. So I was actually on contract with Microsoft as a consultant for the full 18 months back in the day. And I also worked with Expedia in their university recruiting group too. So it's definitely different, than here at Simplicity. But I do have to say that what Erika just mentioned about just cost and time, she is really spot on with that.
Yeah, you've seen it firsthand in that big machine that is a university recruitment model. And I know you've got a pro tip for hiring managers. It's very specific, tied to the experience that you come with, and then this new way of identifying on-demand talent. So tell the hiring managers that are listening, what is your pro tip?
Yeah, my pro tip is to ditch the interview. Just don't do a full interview like normal. So coming from university recruiting, like I said, hiring managers would be in all day recruiting, hiring events where they were interviewing so many different candidates for different roles, and it would take up their whole day job. They literally, it took up so much time. So instead of the traditional interview format, we actually recommend what we call a working session. So rather than a routine resume walk, these working sessions actually allow the hiring manager to see how the consultant really thinks and communicates. And it's all framed by that hiring manager's unique needs. So they can really understand how the consultant is going to make an immediate impact on their business. And then these sessions are just 30 to 45 minutes long versus an entire day. And they really help the hiring manager get a truer sense of whether that consultant's going to be right for their project.
That's awesome. Days versus hours versus days, cost and time. Like we're really, I think, hitting on some pretty good insights and how we can actually make the process not even just a better experience for the candidates, which is obviously something that we very much care about, but also for the hiring managers to really hone in on knowing that this on-demand expert is really the person that's going to come in and help them achieve their goals on that project, which is so important. We always say, you got to be able to hit the ground running. So back to the working session, Markel, I'm just curious, how does a hiring manager even prepare for a working session, since this might be a little bit different than what they're used to?
Yeah, it's a really great question. The best way for a successful working session is to get really clear on the project scope. You want to be crisp and clear on those deliverables so the consultant really knows what they can, what they know and will be able to get into. So define the problems that you want to solve and just set a really high level talk track to guide that conversation. It should be really conversational, less of the situational interview questions. Really get to know that consultant and make sure it's a good fit for everybody.
And I guess too, as it pertains to an agenda or a format or a structure, can you give a little bit of insight into what that should look and feel like as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The agenda for hiring managers, just be sure to share as much information about your business and the project that you can. And then, of course, the problems that need to be solved. So it's so helpful when you talk about your role and what you specifically do within your position, and then the team members that are on your team and just the rest of the group. That way, the consultant really knows what they're getting into and can get a feel for the environment that they'll be working in. And they can come up with some examples of how they've done similar work in the past. So talk about what success looks like, ask the consultant where they've helped other clients in the past or have helped businesses achieve similar or even greater results. And again, instead of focusing on their resume and the person's work history from 10 or 15 years ago, make sure you really dedicate that time in the agenda to ask about the consultant and what they're confident doing and that work that they really love to do. And then just that recent and relevant experience that they have. So it's really important, kind of like what Erika was mentioning about personal brand, focus on that personal brand that the consultant has and that work that they really love to do and what they feel most confident doing and just that success that they've experienced and how they can add value to your team right away.
So working sessions really are an effective tool for any hiring manager looking for an on-demand expert, especially I think in marketing and communications, because so much of this has to be like proved out, right? Like the evidence that you've done this kind of campaign before, that you understand and are a digital native when it comes to marketing tools. Like that's just so good, Markel, and I really appreciate the insights. I want to keep you on the screen because I want to bring back Amanda and Erika, and just thank you guys so much for sharing your point of view in this session.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any like last minute pro tips, you guys, or just one final statement to sum up your pro tip for the hiring managers?
Yeah, I would say I can jump in. I would say, focus on the portfolio as it really pertains to what you are trying to solve for the business and less on the resume. That would be my biggest takeaway.
Erika?
Yeah, and I think just, really showing up, and hiring managers, go to those LinkedIns and see what those brand statements are saying about someone. And I think, we really educate our consultants to show up and to really make sure that their LinkedIns are showing their personal brand statement and being excited.
Awesome. And then Markel, round it out for us.
Well, like I said, ditch that interview, do those working sessions, look more into that, think about what your project scope is and what those problems are, because these consultants are on-demand experts. And I mean, they're going to be able to hit the ground running. They're going to have their personal brands. They are going to be doing work that they love to do, that they're so excited about getting up every day and doing. And they've helped other teams and businesses achieve same success or greater results as well. So definitely look into those working sessions and have good conversations with them, get to know them, and make sure it's just an overall really good fit for their team.
Yeah. Great pro tips, you guys. I have such admiration for what you three do every single day for our consultant community as well as for our clients. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving your pro tips and your time. This does conclude our LinkedIn Live session, Hiring Freeze, How to Hire On-Demand Talent in a Pandemic. I want you guys who are tuning in now or who receive the recording to feel free, reach out to these experts. talent@simplicityci.com is the alias that will reach all three of these fabulous talent managers, or matchmakers as we call them. And then coming up next, join Lisa Hufford, founder and CEO of Simplicity, on August 25th at 1 p.m. for a webinar that she'll be hosting titled How to Execute an Insanely Awesome Marketing Campaign in 2020. This webinar is for hiring managers as well in marketing and communications who want to get the most ROI for their campaigns and go-to-market strategies. And we will have a couple of special guests featured in that webinar with Lisa. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't we say a big farewell, and we'll see you guys at the next LinkedIn Live.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.